All right, ladies, gentlemen, I don't need these for right now because Polly's not here yet. Hopefully, he remembers about the time change. If not, that's okay. We can just do a solo show and I will endure. So, how are we, everyone, this fine, lovely Saturday evening? I have myself a tall glass of wine, referred to, the actual name of this wine is called Camelot Mead. It's from my favorite winery down in Indiana called Oliver Winery. And it's good. It's got this like melony taste to it, which is really good because I like melons. I like melons a lot. Okay, I'm sorry. On the nose a little bit. Just a little bit. So, if you were not here last week or if you missed it for whatever reason, we are changing the schedule of cocktail hour. And the reason why is because my work schedule. As a bartender, I have been slated to work every other Sunday, so we thought that it would be more ideal if I didn't have to frantically reschedule dependent on my patrons and how long they wanted to stay in the bar, because there's no real close time for my bar. It's just like whenever the last person leaves is when I can start to lock up, is the thing, which is fine. I don't mind it. It allows me to do other stuff while it is that I'm working, like I can finish writing my book. This hasn't really happened a whole bunch yet. Or I can like apply for other jobs in the field that it is that I'm working in. Or I can write scripts out for the channel. Although that's not happened a whole bunch quite yet because I'm still getting the hang of things, trying to figure out where everything is and how to handle the kitchen and whatnot. But it is a thing that is happening. We're working on it. Should the bar owner worry about stock levels, says Cavalier? No, he shouldn't, because I don't drink on the job. And at the same time, I don't take my shift drink like everyone else does. Just because I want to finish up and get out as fast as possible. And speaking of which, guess who is here? Speaking of alcoholics. Hi, Polly.
Hello.
How are you this fine evening? You didn't forget about me, did you?
Forget about you. Pfft. Now, how could that happen?
I don't know. Some people do. My mom certainly did when I was.
Oh my God. Have a snort.
I'm half a bottle of wine in. Get on my level, buddy.
Well, I got the extra tall can of hard cider here. I'm good. I'm good.
Good. Then we're on the right track. We are on track to getting pleasantly buzzed this fine evening, this fine Saturday evening. I'm so excited.
Are you?
I'm ready. Yeah. I'm always excited, Polly. How can I not be? You have the opportunity to hang out with me.
Certainly exciting for me.
I'm excited for you. Yeah.
You're excited on my behalf.
I'm excited on your behalf because, let's be honest. Come on.
I think we're confusing people. We should jump around in time a little bit more. When we do the show, we should do it like Tuesday at 11:30 a.m. next.
You know what? We totally could. Because next weekend I'll be out of town. Well, and while I can stream at the Cabin in the Woods, we all know how that works out. It's not very fun. But I mean, if you wanted to reschedule, we totally could, just to mess with people.
We should do a ship post where we record an entire stream like offline and then just post it as if it were a stream and see if everyone gets confused as to why there's no chat there and why they can't talk.
We could do that.
No, set it as a premiere. Then there will be a chat. And then why isn't Weebo responding to my questions?
We'll talk after. Pre-recorded Polydub and Weebo Jones cocktail hour streams. Oh, that would be funny. Speaking of stream nonsense, I have to open up Streamlabs because I forgot to do that. I spent petty cash today. Spent some of my petty cash bar money on Thai food today because I was craving it, and it was good. It was a good time.
Must be nice. None of my cash is petty at all.
Well, you know what I do is after every bar shift, I take like $5 and I put it in a mason jar so I don't touch it, and then I transfer everything else to like all my cash tips and whatnot. I put that in the bank, and so like I have a nice healthy amount of petty cash that I'm not accounting for, stashed away in a place that I will not disclose. So I use that.
It's under your
for
bed,
just
isn't it?
whatever. No, it's not.
No.
Mm-mm.
Is it in that little ceramic thing off to your right?
You mean my water bottle?
No, that girly
thing?
knickknack thing on the shelf off to the right of you.
You mean this thing?
No, the girly knickknack Chotsky thing over there.
This thing?
What is that?
It's like a little jewelry box thing.
See? I knew you had some kind of girly knickknack on the shelf to the right of you. I couldn't even see the shelf to the right of you, but it's very you to have something like that there. So I guess that was right.
My grandmother brought this back from Japan. I'd hardly consider it super girly.
Work with me.
It did have a penny in it, though, but that's not my petty cash stash. Yeah. My petty cash stash is much better hidden. Much better hidden. Yeah, that works.
Do you know where I hide my cash?
Do I want to know?
It's in a hollowed out book.
I tried to hollow out a book once, and then I realized that I was committing a crime against humanity.
Really? Why? Because you're destroying a book?
Yeah.
Huh.
Like the worst thing that you could do, destroying a book. Book burning is frowned upon, Polly.
It depends on what happens if it represents colonial whiteness.
I don't give a fuck. Book burning is wrong. It was wrong with the Nazis do it. It's wrong when anyone does it, especially with authoritarian like principles attached. They're justifications.
No, it's getting rid of hate. It's fine.
Sure. Fine. Whatever you say. I disagree, though. No, I keep my petty cash in like a tea tin hidden away somewhere that you'll never know.
A tea tin?
Mm-hmm.
In your backyard?
Also from Japan. No. It's... You ever have one of those tea tins? They're like a tin with a lid and the weird lid.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a good time.
Angry Illinois.
COVID.
Angry Illinoisian says damaging any book is wrong, even the Twilight series. Well, you should tell Far about that. She turned her copies of the Twilight books into art, like destructively so.
I will say this, the Twilight books themselves are not as bad as the movies were. Although I enjoy the movies purely for irony's sake. They're a good laugh.
You want to talk about irony? Of all potatoes says try using a book written by Karl Marx. It's basically worthless otherwise. Imagine the irony of going on to Amazon and buying the Communist Manifesto or buying Das Kapital.
You want to... Now you just gave me an idea. Amazon. All right, let's see how much the Communist Manifesto goes for on Amazon. It's the first one. All right, take your guess. What does the illustrated copy of the Communist Manifesto go for on?
Oh, Amazon? Illustrated? There's
Yeah.
pictures of bread lines and skinny people and downtrodden, soulless, lifeless husks of former individuals. Oh, isn't that great?
It's in paperback too. So if that gives you an E. Okay. Yeah, it's in paperback. It's illustrated in paperback.
$16.95.
$9.99.
$9.99.
What about the sponsored Communist Manifesto? The other sponsored Communist Manifesto with an introduction by Aljan Lee. It's
You
the
can go.
Kindle edition, though. So
Oh,
yes, this might also-
$3.49.
Well, it's discounted right now at $185, but it's originally priced at $375.
Wow.
All right.
Shouldn't they be giving it away for the good of the people, comrade?
Yes, sure. And what was the other book you mentioned?
Das Kapital.
Yep.
Capital's with a K.
Yes. Okay. Das Kapital, the illustrated version. Paperback.
What is it with all of these illustrated guides to a nightmare dystopian future?
Well, they want to know. They want to make sure that you know exactly what it is that you're getting into. So, the illustrated paperback version of Das Kapital. What does it go for?
I'm gonna go again with $16.99.
Yes, actually, that was the original price, but it has been discounted for $14.98.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Considering all the leaders of Black Lives Matter Incorporated are a bunch of Marxists, it's probably discounted in their honor. You know, Juneteenth and all.
Naturally, Juneteenth was a while ago, though. Also,
yeah, they're holding on in case people miss the day.
I did not. Oh.
I love the girl snorting too.
Girl snorting. Yeah, me too. No, okay. I don't remember ever hearing about Juneteenth until this year. And I know I'm not the only one that has that impression. So what is up, Polly? Explain. You're savvy in the political sense.
Okay. Oh, you mean what is it?
No, not what is it, because I understand what it is. I just don't understand why all of a sudden it's such a big deal when it never has been before.
Oh man, last year Juneteenth was big. Ta-Nehisi Coates went down to the Capitol building and gave testimony before Congress, which means he was invited by a bunch of Democrats to give a stump speech about how.
Well, yeah, but like, I'm someone who actually pays attention to world news and United States shenanigans that's going on, and I do not remember this ever being a thing before this year, or at least like on the scope that it was at. I didn't hear about it.
Well, I can okay. That's not that hard to figure out, is it? News entertainers are a bunch of scumbags, and they're all connected in, what used to be called listservs, which are now just privated Facebook pages where they all talk to each other and they all know each other and they all go to the same places. And 95% of all news information is coming from three places: Washington, D.C., New York, and L.A. They all either physically move in each other's circles or in a cyber sense move in each other's circles. They all pass around the same ideas and the same goals. That's when it's June. There's what were formerly George Floyd protests, which are now the Black Lives Matter protests, and it's rising up against white supremacy and blah, blah. Oh, and it also happens to be Juneteenth, so that it's convenience. It's synchronicity. This date happens to be coming along that they didn't really care about before. You want to watch some interesting phenomena take effect. If it sounds like I'm conspiratorizing, go to Google's search terms graphing page and type in certain terms and see their searched use. Look up Juneteenth and see how it spikes every June, but this year spikes like a motherfucker. Well, there's some artificial promotion that way. And also when every news entertainer is talking about this thing and nobody knows what the fuck it is, they all go to Google or whatever search engine to look up what it is. You want a good laugh, look up POC as a term. Who was talking about it before 5 years ago? No one. It's what George Orwell called newspeak. You know what I mean? New terms introduced, and we're all going to use it. And all the keyboard warriors over on Twitter are suddenly talking about it, which causes it to be pushed up in the algorithm. Because what the fuck are these idiots talking about? LGBTQAIP plus, same thing.
Seems like it's been steadily rising since. So I went ahead and went to Google Trends and looked it up, and so yeah, you're right. There is a spike every year. It's just this year is all the way up here. All the way. So since like at least 2004. And then here's this year right here. We are up. Oh, come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Well, at the very least, 22 from, which is basically like 16. And that's at the midway point right here. Wow, this is like shit. I cannot. I physically cannot. Anyway, you're right. It does make sense. I was just like, what's so different about this year in specific? And then, you know, you're right. Race shenanigans has been a forefront thing. And you know what's funny? The only reason I noticed that it was such a big difference was because I went back a few days ago looking for cannon fodder for my video coming up that I'm going to be releasing that I won't give too many spoilers about. I was looking for cannon fodder. And Juneteenth was one of the things that kept coming up when I was looking up reparations within the past couple of weeks. So I put in donate POC Black reparations into the Twitter handle because for the purpose of my video, I need to have at least some sort of visual proof that X is happening or X has occurred on such a level, because that's how I like to function. And just walls of Juneteenth reparations, Juneteenth reparations, Juneteenth. Here's my PayPal link, pay me reparations and whatnot. And I'm just like, that was an actual like live reenaction.
Wow.
Reenaction, yep.
That sounded like a cry of pain. That was intense.
Crotchety old man. Crotchety old man regales about IRL stuff on Twitter. It is, from the Google Trends, obviously over exaggerated this year compared to years previously. But like, even in high school, when we were learning specifically about this time period in American history, like Juneteenth never came up. Like, everything else came up. The Trail of Tears, all of the other horrible, horrible things that the American people did to Native Americans, Black people, you know, Japanese internment camps, just all of the things except for this one thing. And maybe it's because I wasn't paying that good of attention, but history was one of my more interesting classes that I've like taken in my short lifetime. Any history, that's American history, that's Civil War history, that's 20th century wars history, that's, you know, Greek and Hellenistic period history. Any history is super interesting to me, and so I usually pay attention to that. But that little thingy right there that I would normally I latch on to little details like that, but I did not catch that. So that leads me to believe that I'm not the one at fault here. It's because I was.
Well, you make it sound like, okay, I never heard of Juneteenth in school. There isn't even any reason, unless one of your teachers decided to mention it themselves, that it should ever come up. It'd be like, were you taught about Kwanzaa? That's another made up day.
Not specifically about the intricacies about it. I just knew that it was a Black equivalent Christmas type thing. Like, I don't even know the specifics currently about it. I just know that it's like Black Christmas.
Sort of.
Which is an oversimplification, I'm aware, but
not by much.
I really don't care, is the thing. I don't celebrate it.
Well, that's pretty white privileged of you.
Literally how? Thank you to Brad Young for the donation and the kissy heart face. I do appreciate that over in the super chats. And guys, if you would like to donate to myself and or Polydub, and in order to get Polydub a mail order Russian, was it a Slavic bride? Did you want a Slovenian bride?
Ukrainian,
thank you. A mail order Ukrainian bride, you can donate to our Streamlabs down in the description down below, where you can find all of our links, including our Streamlabs, including our Twitters, including Polydubs' YouTube channel, where you can find comic book curation and or our lovely collaborations that we do, and or any other independent video that Polly does. I know that he just posted one on his channel that was Polly, how would you describe it exactly?
Describe what?
The video that you posted this last week about, oh gosh, I'm totally blanking on the topic subject matter, but I remember watching it and it's topical.
You didn't watch it?
No, I did watch it. It's topical.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, it was. I watched the
No, you
opening
didn't.
and you had like really nice water thingy going on with your.
No, I showed you that graphic in Discord. You didn't watch it. You know how I
No,
know?
I watched
You know
it.
how I know?
How
Because
do
you
you
didn't leave
know?
a comment.
Oh, am I supposed to leave a comment every time I watch your video? You know, not even people that like. I don't even comment on my own videos that much, Polly. And vidIQ recommends that you comment on your video to encourage engagement between viewers, and I don't do that because I have no reason. I have no explanation.
Comment on your video? You mean like respond to people's comments on the video?
Yeah, I'm supposed to
okay.
either put like a highlight comment on my thing or respond to other people to encourage engagement with the people. But I don't do that. And it was Sean King. It was a Sean King thing. It had to do with Sean King.
That video.
Yeah.
You know I've posted 2 videos since then, right?
Dude, I've been busy moving. I literally sent you a picture yesterday night bitching about my attic problems and like cleaning out the attic full of my crap from the last 22 years of my life. Okay, you know this.
Let me tell you something, chat. She's talking about how she's cleaning out this attic, and she makes it sound like just picture like the most overstuffed like boxes packed as like tall as her, which is very high, I admit, but it's relative. And she's talking about this, so she sends me a picture of this attic, and I'm like, "That's the attic? Those must be some pretty densely packed boxes if you're that concerned."
No.
That was a bitch one way or another.
That was half the shit I had brought down from the attic. That was the garage with all of the shit that had been transported from above. Like I had to. Polly, I almost died yesterday several times carrying massive boxes downstairs on a rickety old ladder that was unstable, that was ready to just pop back up. I almost got trapped up there. I almost got attacked by my own cat up there because he decided to just hang out there with me. I almost broke my neck and or my skull because I was like more top heavy than usual with the boxes that I was carrying.
I was more top heavy than usual. Weebo with the humble brag. Very well done.
Thank you. It was bad. And here's the thing. Like over 75% of the shit that I pulled from the attic, because it's supposed to go back into storage at some point because I don't have an apartment to put it in yet. But 75% of that shit got chucked out or donated because I didn't need it anymore, it wouldn't fit anymore, or it was just plain old fucking garbage. This is my childhood that I've put up there thinking, oh, I'll use this like 13 years ago. Like, oh, someday I might need this paper mache mask that I made in 4th grade that has so many sentimental memories about it. I didn't fucking even remember this shit, that it was up there in the first place. All that I wanted was, can I get me some kitchen utensils, some pots and pans? Let's see what else it is that I can pull out of this attic. Please and thank you. I need to stock my kitchen in my future living space. Thank you.
All right. Hold on. Thank you, Evolved Potato, for $20. Very generous. And he says, I just want to ask if either of you were taught about any of the attacks of the American Indians did against the Europeans and other Indians, because I wasn't taught about the Aboriginal attacks in Australia. I know that it happened, but I had to look that up. It came up, but only by the time that I got to university. In high school, no. It was evil Europeans came in and the peace-loving utopia land of America, where they all lived in harmony with nature, and then the evil whites came in and forced them off their land and killed them with diseases, apparently intentionally.
I had a different experience from you, Polly, and probably from a lot of other people, because I remember distinctly in, I think it was like 4th or 5th grade or something, we did this role play living on the prairie type thing. where we played a game and we were allotted specific roles. Like I was a 4-year-old prairie rancher girl person, and everyone else had their own little role or whatever. And we were supposed to play as if we were settlers on the plains. And we actually came across or face to face with conflicts with Native Americans because they wanted to make it as realistic but also relatable, but also kind of like PG as they could for us. So there were different scenarios that were set up, different actions that could be taken. Some people died, but not in a super like gruesome way. And there was no winning the game. It was just to kind of experience and role play as these people and what it was that they had to without any of the actual hardships. But we did learn about this kind of thing. And this was in elementary school. So this is very early on in my education.
You're missing super chats there, Weebo.
Yes, I know. Thank you, Nate Edwards, for the donation. He says, "Do the worm." I can do it right now with my arms, but
look at that.
Yeah,
look at that.
I will endeavor to do the worm at a later point in time when there is more room space here.
And thank you, the next 6 minutes, for the donation. Want to sub to an utterly awesome channel with utterly streams like Noir Bar and Comic Book Curation, which utterly rock because of reasons which are all awesome? Well, do it then. Also, donate to this awesome otter so he can get a new potato. Bro hug.
Yeah.
Thanks, Six. I appreciate it, man.
And also make it possible for him to have a Ukrainian mail order bride, because we've abandoned the hamster idea completely, I guess.
You were the one who said no. After I showed you one of the animated back. Okay, chat. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I was showing Weebo what I was working on because I was kind of like, oh look, this looks really cool, and I'm happy with the way it's turning out. And she said, "Is this that little car moving back there?" I'm like, "Yes, it is." Well, you want to see animation? Here, let me show you this one that I did a while back. And I'm like, look at all the animations that are going on in it. There's all these composited different things happening. The clouds are moving, cars are moving, smokestacks, chimneys are moving, or producing smoke. And she's like, we need to get you a mail order bride. A pet isn't good enough anymore. It hurt. It hurt.
But little did I know, I wouldn't even need to fund a mail order bride because he just has women coming to him in the middle of the night for no reason. Anyway.
Hey, wow. IRL and URL shall not meet. Let's keep those stories offline.
Inside joke. Okay. So, poly procrastinating. Hashtags. Thank you, Assassins of the Great. Yes, for reminding me. Hey, Polly, how's our collab coming?
Our collab?
Our collab.
Which one?
The one that I sent you like last week. Because I sent you the video file and the audio
the Russian
file.
doll one?
No.
The one we recorded, right?
The one I sent you audio and video file for. Hang on, pause.
Do you know how many collabs we got on the go? We got the Russian doll one. We got the one we recorded. We are waiting for you to finish watching the MCU film so you can judge men and objectify them.
It's a process, all right? Let me tell you. It's a process.
I'm just happy that I'm not the one that's got the video on deck that's been on the shelf the longest, because that used to be me with the Star Wars Holiday Christmas Special. That was me for months.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was hanging over my head like this pall of a dark cloud. But now it's Weebo. She's got the one that we've been waiting for.
Don't redirect the topic, all right? I asked you how our collab is doing. You can't just spit this back on me and then expect the audience to just willingly forget that we have something in the works.
No, we do. Then let me tell you about that, chat. Okay. Here's what happened. I had intended to record a 20-minute little video that I was then going to 25 maybe go into editing. Okay. By the time we stopped recording, 90 minutes. I am going to have 90 fucking minutes. And so I'm going to admit it openly. Look, I'll just be honest. I wasn't entirely enthused to hop right into the editing process because it's a little daunting. I have to somehow turn 90 minutes into 20.
You can do it. I believe you.
I know I can. It's a question of what, not
make it an even 30.
making it even. No, well, hey, you've seen video interaction rates. Does anybody even want to see that? I mean, I should make it part of like a 5-part series or something.
Do it. Oh, do it. Do it. Then you'll have content for like 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So speaking of content, why has Polly got Brussels atomium on his head? Atomium on his head. Those are swirls of. Oh, I get it. Those swirls of confusion. They're swirls of confusion. It's a graphical representation, not a physical reality. But so let's talk about Kwanzaa.
Can we take a pause for a sec? Because I got to read a thing from Stixie.
No.
But he donated to me. He gave me
It's
money.
Fine. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you. The next 6 minutes for the donation over on the Streamlabs. If you're not subbed to this awesome girl, you need that noggin looked at. Her videos are awesome. So are her streams and her merch store. Did I mention her merch store with all that awesome merch? If I don't go to her merch store for sweet, if I didn't go to her merch store for sweet merch, high fives. Yes, I am still illiterate. It is 2020. I'm working on it. Okay, so
body pillows available now.
Yes. You want 12 for every side of you.
And they have a little slot to install a fleshlight. It's weird, but her choice.
No! No, we do not endorse. This is a Christian channel. Dad, don't watch.
See, I mentioned that, Father Jones, because that was the thing. I came across it, not a body pillow. Well, I mean, I guess technically it was a large, it was a Animu waifu body pillow. And
Anime waifu. Get it right. You call yourself a connoisseur of the interwebs.
Yeah, Animu. So the sick fox had actually built into it a little pocket slot to install a fleshlight.
Okay, you make it sound like some great feat, but I can tell you as someone who has sewn things together and ripped them apart, that is not that hard. That is 10 minutes of sewing.
Weebo, I'm not talking about the feat of seamstressy or, the sewing notions required to pull it off. I'm talking about the moral consequences of having a fleshlight pocket in your body pillow waifu. It's sick.
Okay, fair. Yes, I agree. It is a little bit out there. It's a bit much. Find yourself a good woman. Buy one on the internet if you have to. But not full of feathers.
Travis asks, has anyone seen Polly before? Weebo has.
I have. I know what Polly looks like. And he doesn't like my comparison of him.
Comparison?
So you remember when someone asked me who it was that I thought you looked like?
Yeah, I forget what you said. No, actually, I don't remember that.
That's probably for the best. Because you got mad about it.
Did it at least make some rational sense?
I thought so.
Would you compare me to a ginger or something? What was I actually don't remember who you said. I drink.
Oh, I drink and I know things. No, it wasn't Sargon, Daniel. It was another internet neckbeardy type that we're all familiar with.
Oh, I remember. You said I look like fucking Armored Shill. And I was like, what? How? Because I have dark brown hair? And
yeah.
And basically. That's about it? Like,
yeah.
No.
Because you're tall. You apparently tall. I've never actually seen you stand up, but you're tall and you have like the darker hair type. And that was basically it. But I'm also
If
not the
Weebo
best
wasn't white,
person
I'd call
for
her
this.
racist. No, he's white and he's got dark hair. I mean, they all look
I'm not
alike.
good
Am
at
I
this game.
right? Jesus.
I don't want to play anymore. He does not have red hair, Travis. At least I don't think he dyes his hair. It doesn't look like he does.
Okay, so let's talk about Kwanzaa.
Okay, Kwanzaa.
So it's like an African American holiday. It's just totally made up, a holdover garbage from the 60s. Even when you go to the Wikipedia page, and like that's where most people are going to end up. So that's why I went there. I don't think it's the solid source of all information. I just think that's where most people are going to read from to begin with.
Yeah.
So why not look there? Kwanzaa is an annual celebration of African American culture held from December 26th to January 1st, culminating in gift giving and a feast of faith. It was created by foreign and first celebrated in 1966. Kwanzaa has become more commercialized while observance of this holiday has waned. Yeah, right at the top. The neutrality of this article is disputed. You want some good laughs? Go to the discussion page behind it, because it is just a long. After its creation in California, Kwanzaa spread outside the United States. Yeah, barely. It doesn't really exist. It's not really a thing. It's in the late 60s. A guy, give me a quick second, by the name of Ron Karenga, who was born Ronald McKinley Everett, who changed his name to Ron Karenga and then subsequently changed his name to Milana Nabazitha Karenga, because it's the late 60s. So I'm angry. I'm political. I'm going to rename myself something quasi kind of African like sounding. I'll pick one name that's Swahili and another name that's one of the native Guyanan languages, and I'll put it all together, and I'm African American, so I can totally get away with it. And I'll wear red, black, and green. And hey, listen to me, I'm a cultural leader now. Blah, 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 right? There's things that are made, but it doesn't come from a given culture. There's no tradition. When I say it's made up, I mean it's not even based on an actual event. Like what would be a good example of a made up holiday that still has a basis in legitimacy? Hanukkah. Hanukkah's a good example. Hanukkah didn't exist for the longest time until some rabbis get together and say, we want little Jewish kids to be able to have something to do around Christmas. So they go back into Jewish tradition and find an actual extant example of this night where they didn't have enough oil to burn after reclaiming the temple, and they only had enough oil that hadn't been desecrated, and magically miraculously rather, the oil burned for 8 days when it shouldn't have, and it was a sign of divine providence. It's an actual legitimate story inside the Jewish religious tradition. Let's make a holiday out of it, and there we go. And that's Hanukkah. That's not what happened with Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa is just completely made up.
Yeah. It celebrates what the founder called the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, the 7 principles of African heritage. What culture is this coming from? What religious tradition? This is all it's just a mishmash. This is a potpourri of fuckery the guy pulled right out of the ether. It was developed in 1965. The 7 principles that combine it are unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. Like what?
Faith in what?
To believe with all our hearts in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and the righteousness of victory in our struggle.
You want to look at the website?
But before I do actually, but who is Matana Karenga or Ron?
Ooh, I'm in the discussion section and I can answer this. He was a known racist.
Oh, yeah, he was a hard racist, but he was also sentenced to 1 to 10 years on multiple counts of felonious assault and imprisonment after the women who were witnesses against him described having been stripped, beaten with an electrical cord in an attempt to rape them. Deborah Jones was her name. Once given the Swahili title of an African queen, she and Gail Davis were whipped with an electrical cord and beaten with a karate baton after being ordered to remove their clothes. She testified that a hot soldering iron was placed on Miss Davis's mouth and placed against Miss Davis's face, and that one of her own big toes was tightened in a vice. Karenga, head of this organization called US, like as in us African Americans, US, also put detergent and running hoses in their mouths. They were also hit on the heads with toasters. Because he had been told these women were conspiring against him. So he kidnaps them, imprisons them, strips them, whips them, threatens to rape them. All you're going to tell me what I want to know. Oh, lovely man. Lovely man.
Wait, on the head with toasters? Did you have nothing else to hit them on the head with? Why toasters? Why specifically toasters? What did that kitchen appliance ever do to fucking you in order to deserve such a just ugh.
I love this line so much. Karenga has declined to discuss the convictions with reporters and does not mention them in his biographical materials.
Fucking course.
Yeah, I leafed through his like memoirs, his autobiographical material, as they describe it. It's everything is a righteous fight against our oppressive overseers, whereby you formed a gang. There's no other way to describe it. You had neighborhood toughs that were going around and running basic, real low-down neighborhood extortion rackets. Don't you want protection from the police? Well, pay us and we'll protect you. It's got a nice shop here. It would be a shame if something happened to it, et cetera, et cetera. It was a low-down extortion racket, and everything else that was built up around it was for the sake of we're working towards a higher purpose. And this guy, by the way, was studying for his doctorate at UCLA. Tells you something about their entrance requirements. Anybody coming along and claiming to study something for social justice or for the sake of African history and the strong tradition against colonialism, blah, 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 they'll let you in and pay you to do it. Anyway, there's fucking Kwanzaa in a nutshell.
Oh gosh, this is like an entire video on itself. The history of Kwanzaa. Ooh. I think I found my next debate topic video, guys. Just kidding. I wouldn't actually probably, maybe. No, I already have a Christmas video planned out. Sorry.
When he really gets mad, out comes the four slice. No, I think you were right. Weebo, he just wanted to hit her with something, and he turned around and went like where's something?
Oh, there's a fucking toaster. I'll use that. That's just as good as anything, right?
And grab the toaster.
Jesus, the criminal conviction thing, that sounds more like snuff porn than anything. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
a running hose, as in like a water hose from the outside garden area, and like, oh my god, oh god.
Assassin the Grey is right. That's exactly the kind of language that gets used. There are black militants fighting their guerrilla war against the LAPD. Yeah, yeah. Let's not ennoble. Let's see how much more we can ennoble it. And it's not to say that everything that's the criticism that I hear about this when I talk about people, it's like, he's like, you don't really like examples of black leadership. And I'm like, that's your example of black leadership? That's the best you can do?
Apparently.
But it shouldn't be. The point is there's numerous other examples of people that were, one, literally militants and didn't resort to victimizing their own people while pretending to be something. Just the list goes on and on. It's just he is a big, colorful, loud example of somebody that goes around and is still, for the longest time, giving speeches at leftist university campuses as somebody who lived through the militant civil rights struggle, blah, blah, blah. Let's not ask him about his vicious beating of women, patriarchal ways, and blatant out-and-out racism, which is no longer racism because we redefined it in such a way that only white people can do it.
Oh, gosh. This just makes me extremely uncomfortable. Like, yeah, you make an argument about black leadership. And while we have our Martin Luther Kings, we also have people like Moana Karenga. And that's not the kind of... Ron Karenga. And that's not necessarily the type of person that you want to pedestal as a person of authority within your community in any capacity. At all. Reason being is because he's not a good boy. He is a bad boy. He's a very bad boy.
Yeah, you said you watched my last video and it was on Sean King. There's another example. Oh, at least reading underneath his comment as ratioed as he got for that. It's black folks ain't stupid. Like, you know, you scroll through and it's half, if not more, are a bunch of black folks on Twitter saying, I'm like, get fucked. And it's like, yeah, get fucked, Sean King.
But he's not actually black is the thing. He just peddles himself as black. And so they see right through him. But if it were, I don't know, someone actually advocating for violence, what would the reaction be? And before we continue on, thank you to Evolved Potato for the donation over on the Streamlabs. Thank you, Weebo. Until I see otherwise, Polly will look exactly like Armored Skeptic. I really do thank you for this. Oh no. I'm so sorry, Polly. And the next 6 minutes, thank you for your donation for Tylenol, because boxes are heavy. Aches and pains can fuck off, you girl weebs. Exactly.
But at least I'm human. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world to have me imagine like that. I have a lot of people who sit there. Yeah, people sit there and argue. I picture a short little, like, 2 foot tall otter sitting on multiple thick books to be able to reach up to the microphone, talking away, and it's like,
that's adorable, though. Polly, would you rather be adorable or accused of being someone who's trading up for an 18-year-old version of Boxy?
Ooh, wow. I mean, I'm not disagreeing. It's just you swiped it at him through her, and this really kind of.
Well, okay, I just make that because I like to shit talk, but I don't actually believe that that's the case necessarily until I see more evidence. But, like, you gotta admit, some of the pieces fall alarmingly into place in a way that...
With Boxy?
No. Because, okay, so we have Boxy, the original Boxy.
Sure. Yeah.
And then we have the Boxy clone Shuon Head.
Right.
And then we have that Kiwi chick that is the 18-year-old version of Shuon Head, who is the however old Shuon Head version is of Boxy. And I hate giving it to Brittany Venti because I absolutely hate Brittany Venti with a burning passion. But there is like an alarming possibility that there is this thing of, like, he has a very distinct preference of woman.
What are you talking about?
Shuon
I don't follow these people.
Shuon Head and Armored Skeptic broke up.
Oh my god. Breaking news for Polly. Like, did they actually break up?
Yeah, they broke up.
Okay, this is news to me.
Oh, I thought you knew this.
What? This is not a rhetorical question. Okay, why would I know that?
I don't know, because everyone was talking about it on Twitter 2 days ago.
Everyone?
Okay, all right. Let me take it back from the beginning, right?
All right.
So this all started when Shuon Head and Armored Skeptic broke up. On her birthday, mind you.
Damn.
Yeah, she went dark, like full on deleted her Twitter. And as soon as that was the case, I guess Armored Skeptic started cracking some funnies. But before that, he was subscribed to this girl on Twitter, or he followed this girl on Twitter called Kiwi, and she looks exactly like Shuon Head.
That's funny. Okay.
Okay, so that's why this is like a 12th degree of dark humor right here. Because she is an 18-year-old version of Shuon Head, who is an however old version of the original Boxy. And it's just going to be like... It's like the Avatar state, essentially. We have a succession.
So, I mean, your boy Pat's like, I thought you knew, Polly. Now, I can't tell if he's saying it like the saying, I thought you knew, and thus mocking me, or literally, you thought I knew. The last thing that I heard about those two is their engagement was off. And I was like, oh, drama. And
wait, hang on.
And actually, that wasn't that long ago. I didn't realize, they broke up and Twitters were deleted. And
no, they were engaged? Pause. I didn't know this.
I thought, yeah.
No, I never thought they were engaged. I just knew that they were dating and that they hadn't moved in yet together. And they've been in a relationship, long distance, for roughly as long as boyfriend and I have been in a relationship. Not for long distance, but just in general. Because we're both we would have been both at 5 years had they stayed together. But yeah, I only knew about them being together.
Thank you for the donation, Evolved Potato. Don't worry. I know you're still a furry. Just under the otter head, you look like Armored Shill. Yeah, there's the question. Yeah, well, Jacob Jet says they were engaged for a while before this.
I did not know
I
that. Yeah, where have I been, says Lion Patriot. I don't know.
what
I didn't know that.
you know what's funny about that
Hmm.
is that this is I can't talk about this too much longer. If I'm Weebo, if you bring
Yeah.
up Shane Dawson, I'm leaving.
I wasn't going to.
Just saying.
I can't even watch his stupid video. I
I've never watched a single Shane Dawson video. I don't understand when anyone's talking about him. All of a sudden, his name is like back up, and everyone's like, I see him in people's video titles, and it's like when you've reached this level of commentary, like talking about what other YouTubers are doing. Like this isn't even Drama Alert. It's lower than that. It's a YouTube sewing circle,
Yeah,
if you know
no.
what I mean. Like a bunch of neighborhood biddies sitting around knitting, talking about, well, knitting's cool. They're macrameing, talking about
I'm
all
sorry,
the
is
gossip.
macrameing not cool?
Yeah, that's right. Macrameing is not cool. Sitting around macrameing, talking about all the doings and gossip of the neighborhood. I don't mind some inside baseball discussion around YouTubers because I find it interesting what works and what doesn't. Because as I've said before, I have no idea how YouTube works. And when I saw Armored Shill and Shoe on Head sort of doing videos that we're going to do movie reviews, we're going to do this, and there's no question that Shoe on Head had a huge following, over 1 million subscribers. I thought that was the explanation. It's like, oh, here's this couple, a lot of people seem to like them, and they're making these comments, and it's all about this the older guy informing sort of like his millennial girlfriend is to, like, we're going to review Star Wars because she's never seen it before. We're going to review Indiana Jones and all these nerdy things because she's never seen it before, first time. I can see that appealing to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And I thought, see, this is your lane, Armored Shill. Stay away from trying to be Mr. Rational Skeptic and blah, 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 because you don't understand philosophy, you don't understand science, you don't understand history, you are woefully misinformed on political science and politics generally, but yet tries to comment on all these things. He rode a certain wave of fedora tipping atheism back in 2015 and managed to garner a following. This is what you belong as part of a couple's, let's get together and blah, blah, blah. This is family vlogging. And now that they're not together, I mean, he better find someone else to vlog with.
Yeah, what are you going to do with his Armored Media channel? No, I only brought it up because I think it was just like, just as a little like a side joke, just slide it in there as like a little jab poking of the bear and whatnot. Not because I actually want to dive into what went wrong with their relationship. Because I don't actually give a fuck.
Yeah. Okay, Daniel Fulmus is Philip DeFranco. Exactly. Here's the doings with Philip DeFranco. Oh, here's this new person at KSI. I don't know why people talk about. I've never seen a KSI video. Don't know why people are talking about this. Remember that video that I wanted to do, Weebo, that I suggested, where it's like Polly expresses his ignorance, where it's just like, yeah. I hear about this, and it would just be, there's this YouTuber named KSI. Anything about him? I think he's from the UK. I've seen pictures of him. I believe he's a black man.
I believe he is black.
Yeah, well, they might have been disconnected pictures for all I know. And is why do all these people talk about this guy? Can someone explain this to me? Then, like Shane Dawson. Okay, I'm aware of the guy. What kind of videos does he do? Does he vlog? Does he do makeup? Does he? Why is who is this person? Why does everyone care? That would be the whole thing of the video. Find someone who can explain these things to me in really short form because I don't care that much.
Yeah. No, I get it. Although I will say my new YouTube power couple is definitely going to be a little bit of a spicy one because I definitely 100% will say that Armored Skeptic and Christy Winters should get it on. I'd like to see that work out.
And Vol Potato said Monkey's last Monkey in the Morning had Shane Dawson in the title. Well, that's fine. If other people want to talk about, like, if other people want to gossip about YouTubers, it's a huge part of YouTube. I get that. I just am not all that interested in it. That's all.
I only like talking about YouTubers when, one, I can make fun of them. Two, I can make fun of them in a lucrative pursuit. Three, I can make fun of them and turn it into a thought patrol. 4, if I can make fun of them, then we're good.
So
I'm
yeah,
a massive
really
shitposty type.
making fun of other people for being terrible at what they do, or
Just being terrible.
laughable, or just being terrible or laughable at what they do.
They don't even have to be that bad. If they fuck
My argument
up,
is more power to you. But if the conversation boils down to, did you hear what so and so said? It's like, what are you, a housewife? Psst, did you hear what so and so's husband said? Oh my God, they were at this party last week, and he actually had the nerve to like Jesus Christ, this is just gossip. Stop it.
Yeah, no, I don't care. I just made the joke because I thought it was topical and funny, and then Polly didn't get the joke quite that much, so I had to explain the joke.
It's fine. I get it.
Makes it less funny, but it was some good material, I will say. Oh, but I will iterate that. Okay, slightly off topic, but not really, right? If you're in a long distance relationship, just in general, just some pro tip advice from your girl Weebo, who was in a long distance relationship for 4 years and had it work out. If you're in a long distance relationship, you better have a fucking end goal as to when it is that you guys are going to move in together, become a thing, like, you know, mesh your lives together, because that is the end goal of being a couple. At least that's my understanding, is that you want to mesh your lives together. You want to become unionized in all things. So have a plan of action in that case. You can't just keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, because that's going to explode in your face. Plan of action. You girl Weebo. Pro tip.
Mm-hmm. So, you were talking about those two, that was a central problem, is that there was no plans for unionization, so to speak.
I don't know what went wrong.
I was just trying to understand why you said that out of nowhere. But no,
that's my speculation of what exactly went wrong, and that was part of what I think Greg articulated as part of the problem with what went wrong. And so
you watched him articulate this?
No, he made like a twit longer or something. And I did read through it because I was curious as to what happened, because I knew they were in a long distance relationship. And so I wanted to kind of confirm a suspicion of mine that was what actually happened. And it was along those lines, amongst other things, but it was along those lines. So, pro tip, end goal, plan of action, don't fucking procrastinate your relationship with another person unless it doesn't mean that much to you or them. In which case, then you're fine. If you just want it to be a casual fucking poke and go, then do what you will.
Poke and go.
A poke and go. I'm gonna use that in real life. A poke and go instead of a. What is the terminology used typically, Polly? Is it a quickie? Yeah, instead of a quickie, it's a poke and go.
I could go with that. What's up, Unholy Reaper?
Dad, stop watching, please. He doesn't actually watch my content. Anyway,
does he read your papers?
You mean my thesis that I gave him, all 50 pages of it, like
59?
No, pages. He hasn't read my thesis yet. Thanks, Polly, for the reminder.
That is it.
4 years and almost 70 grand per year.
Does that? I just have to ask, because I'm curious about these kind of things.
That does include the references.
It does include the references. Oh my God!
Because I knew that was what you're not.
That's a term paper.
It is an undergraduate psychology thesis, Polydub.
214 pages, not including references, Weebo. Now that's a thesis.
Keep clapping at me, see what happens.
I want that as a gift. Hold on, I need a timestamp. What's the timestamp, chat?
Oh, we're at 59 minutes and 40 seconds.
9 minutes and 40.
59 minutes and 40 seconds.
59 minutes, really?
Yeah, we're at 59 minutes. Oh god, I get
59,
fun when I
40.
get 3/4 of a bottle of wine in.
I'm not going to deny. I'm not usually a big fan of stemless glasses, but that is a hugely bulbous globular. That is a large volume wine glass you got there, Weebo. Holy fuck.
Dude, the like 2/3 of the bottle of wine fit into this whole thing.
On an unrelated note,
Daddy.
Unholy Reaper, I've always felt that there is a lack of 40 caliber 10 millimeter AR options, and I was reading about a Wildcat called the 400 AR, and apparently like it came out and totally failed, and I was disappointed. But yeah, anyway, that's what I was reading about yesterday to do with guns.
Total left field. Why don't you, Polly?
Well, guns are interesting, Weebo.
They are, and I'm gonna go shooting next weekend for the 4th of July weekend.
See, I am a strong believer in this in the velocity solves all problems school of ballistics is wrong. Like I am not an ultra long range shooter. People talk about shooting 600 yards and out, and I'm like, I don't have the skill set for that yet. Like everyone can build a skill set, but I don't have the skill set for that. Nothing can make up for mass and caliber. Nothing. And it's like, oh, well, we can get the velocity up to 3,500 feet per second. And I'm like, yeah, but you're still shooting this little 22 caliber, 55 grain pill. I mean, okay, yeah, velocity matters. I'm not saying it doesn't, but you're making up for one thing with as Elmer Keith said, large, heavy for caliber bullets, moving moderate velocity is the way to get the job done. And Mr. Keith was right.
So we're about to have a caliber discussion for self-defense guns.
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
Oh shit. That's never happened on YouTube before. This is so fresh.
I know, right? Well, okay. So as a noob gun owner, right? I bought a 9mm. My dad is looking to purchase his concealed carry in the near to soon future. Now, keep in mind he's had guns before. He's got 9mm, and he's got a it's not 380, is it? Is it a 38? Gosh, the wine is getting to me. He's got a Walther PPK, and I don't remember what caliber number it is. Then he's got a 12 gauge shotgun, and he's got his 22 rifle, and another caliber rifle that I'm not 100% sure about. But he's like, I want a 45 for my concealed carry. And his reasoning is behind the fact that a 9mm is going to shoot through the person and the wall behind it, so you have to have like a conscious acknowledgement of the safety ramifications of if you're shooting a person and who is in danger of potentially also getting shot as a result of you defending yourself in the event that, it's, not ideal. But a 45 doesn't shoot through things nearly as well as the 9mm in the same way. And then boyfriend and I had this debate about it because he's like, no, the 45 actually shoots through things just as well as the 9mm. And we watched a video about it, and he's like, oh, I was wrong. It doesn't do that. It just it just goes and poof, and then stops. Like it'll drop a big man and only one big man before it hits a second person. But a 9mm will drop like 3 big men in the same instance or whatever. We'll go right through them. Anyway, this is my understanding.
Is that your tactical plan, to line up your opponents and shoot them with one bullet?
Totally. Anyway, so my dad thinks that a 45 is a better option to have for a concealed carry weapon because of his goals in terms of like, I'm going to be living in a trailer at some point in the near to soon future, traveling the United States, and if I want to defend myself, I want to make sure that I'm not shooting through walls, paper thin walls, and the person I'm shooting at, and accidentally hitting someone that I don't intend to shoot at. Whereas 9mm is like, that's a concern. That might be a thing. So, in your opinion, not that you're an expert, but you have more knowledge than I do, does this sound like something that makes sense to you?
What is it you're trying to weigh between for your father for concealed carry? Is that what you said? That was at the beginning of the plot?
No, I don't know. I want your opinion on the opinions that have been posed to me and the perspectives that have been posed to me. And I know that people are saying get a hollow point 45 or 9mm or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or get hollow point bullets for your 9mm so that it doesn't become an issue of just shooting through things. But, I actually hadn't thought about that, is the thing.
Over penetration is an overstated concern, in
It's
my
an
opinion.
overstated concern. Okay.
Yes. The amount of times that it sucks, but it's a rare occurrence. The idea of like that it would over penetrate. I mean,
over penetration. I can't get it. I'm sorry, I'm like a 12-year-old boy right now.
Are rubber bullets legal for non-police?
Why wouldn't they be?
That would seem to strike me as a state by state thing. That's a good question, though. I don't know.
Why wouldn't they be, though?
I don't know. There's places where completely defensive items like bullet-resistant vests are prohibited for civilian ownership. And
That's stupid.
It's 100% defensive. The only way you could use it as a weapon is if you beat somebody with it or tried to smother them with it. That's weird.
Rubber bullets, you'll put your eye out, kid. Yeah, Spirit Thief. So, a hollow point would mitigate that risk of over penetration. Sorry.
It would, but I mean, it's important to think about it along these lines. It's like a lot of people worship at the altar of the FBI test, the so-called FBI test. Like, can it penetrate these various barriers while still giving you a full 12 inches of penetration into ballistic gel? There's lots of bullets that will exceed that. They'll go 12, 14, 16 inches, like through the 4 layers of denim, through wallboard, etc. If you think about like that distance, 1 foot or extending 1 foot, how many people's chests, for example, from sternum to spine extend past that distance? Like, what are your chances over penetration? They're pretty goddamn good. And where does that number of 12 inches come from anyway? And it's like, well, when you start thinking about like angles, what happens if you shoot the person like from the side? You will have 12 inches of straight through tissue. That all came in after that 1986 Miami-Dade shootout, where 2 guys go up against 5 FBI agents, and a number of them were shot. Unfortunately, a number of them died as well. Several of them died, and the technical details of the actual happenings there in that FBI shootout in '86 are available online and poured over in excruciating detail. What matters is one of the lethal shot that the main perpetrator, the guy who did most of the damage, the shot that killed him, that was mortal, didn't kill him right away. It was a shot that went in his right arm and then left his right arm and then went in through his chest and then penetrated all the way and stopped short of hitting him in the heart. That's where that 12-inch number comes from.
So it ricocheted around inside of him a little bit.
No, it went straight through, more or less.
Through.
Like his right arm was like up against his side, and it went in his arm and then through his chest and passed through his right lung and then stopped short of hitting him in the heart. Eventually, that proved to be a fatal wound, but it wasn't immediately fatal. He did the majority of the damage, the majority of the injuries that he inflicted. He did so after being shot. And it's like, okay, so what the fuck? We need to really reevaluate the ammunition that we're using, the firearms we're using. That was a 9mm Luger that he was shot with. We need a bullet that can penetrate at least this far, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, the point is that's where that standard comes from. Is it actually something you need to be concerned about, or was that a unique standout circumstance? Do you really need to be thinking for personal defense the same concerns that a law enforcement officer is thinking about? Those are all things you need to consider for yourself. If you're buying, regardless of the caliber, regardless of the particular cartridge that you're getting, as long as you're buying it from a reputable manufacturer, and there are a fuck ton of them out there, SIG, Federal HST, Hornady XTP, Hornady Critical Duty, Critical Defense, like those are all reputable manufacturers. Spear Gold Dot, gold standard, sorry for the pun. As long as it's modern hollow point ammunition or modern ballistic tipped ammunition, it's going to function very, very well for you. The question is it in a gun that you can shoot well? Is it in a gun that you can shoot somewhat accurately and you're confident in shooting. Those are the only real questions. Once it gets past that, you start getting into other things, like much more technical stuff. I like 45. It doesn't mean I'm married to it. 9mm is very effective. 40 is, 10mm is, etc. But 9 will absolutely do the job, and so will 380 in most cases.
Okay. Because, yeah, my father has articulated to me on a number of occasions that he was going to go for a 45. That was his reason for a 45, and that was the big deciding factor for him, even though he has the 380 and the 9mm and whatnot. So I was just curious from a more experienced perspective, because I know he's only a casual gun owner, and I know boyfriend is transitioning into a more avid gun owner in that respect, but he's still kind of in the beginner noobish levels, same as me, but a little bit more extra about it. I wanted someone else's perspective, some more experienced intelligence, you know? It just makes sense.
I mean, in Assassin of the Gray, I think it was, mentioned Paul Harrell's analysis of the FBI shootout. Oh, so good. So good. The amount of detail, because it's like, oh, you guys want the detail what happened. All right, here we go. Yeah, he breaks it down over an extended video, bit by bit, and then live action sort of reconstructions. Just himself. It's not like cinematically dramatized. It's just like he was behind a car and he was shooting like this, and then so on, because a lot is made of that 86 Miami shootout. So like, let's look at it in tight detail. If you want to read into it, like what does what, like there's a lot of ballistic wound literature out there, most of it not very good. If you go back and read Fleckner, where really like the first article of ballistic wound literature that was very influential, not the first one was very influential, and then the outcome of the research group that got together to study the 86 shootout and what do you recommend accordingly. Well, the 40 Smith & Wesson is one of the things that came out of that. Not directly, they recommended a 40 caliber bullet in the 10mm that was only going 1080 feet per second. So we can go with a 40 Smith & Wesson. It doesn't need blah, blah, blah technicalities, okay? There's super amounts of detail here, Weeb, that aren't interesting for stream content. But
of course,
you find out the reality is you find out two things. When you shoot somebody, you're not looking to kill them. That's an unintended secondary side effect. What you want is incapacitation. That's the whole point in shooting an attacker, whether it be for law enforcement or for personal defense. And incapacitation of a target only happens by two mechanisms. They bleed out. They lose enough blood that there's not enough oxygen in the brain for them to keep going, and they pass out. One, incapacitation. Or two, you strike the central nervous system. Those are the only two ways you're going to kill somebody. You're going to, kill somebody, yes, but incapacitate them. Not everyone who's incapacitated dies, but that is the fucking point in it. Death is an unintended secondary effect. Because if you're just looking to kill someone, that's something else. That's not the goal of self-defense. It's not the goal of law enforcement, ideally. There's only one thing when we're talking about handguns, not rifles, just handguns. There's only one thing that causes that damage, which is the crushing force in front of the bullet. Hydrostatic shock at handgun velocities is a myth. Ballistic wound literature has demonstrated that again and again. Oh, look at the temporary wound cavity created in this ballistic gel. It's irrelevant. Tissue doesn't respond that way. The permanent wound cavity and the crushing force in front of the bullet is the only thing that causes damage. So a larger wound channel is better. Larger calibers will give you larger wound channel. A bullet that expands better and retains its weight is going to do better in that regard. But there's a lot of crossover, different bullet engineering, different construction, and I really think I've brought the interest of the stream down at this point.
No, I'm actually fascinated by this. So you have helped me a great deal in that. And you also just reminded me that every Thursday, first Thursday of the month, is ladies' nights at my local range, which means I get 10% off ammo. So I have to put that in the calendar, which is what I just did. Because I get 10% off all ammunition, but I also get free rentals, so I can try out different guns at my every whim, which includes like revolvers, that includes 45s, that includes 9mm, 380s, whatever I want to use. That's on the wall that they have, because they have a whole wall of guns that they just stick on there. I'm actually excited because is it next Thursday? It's next Thursday. It's the next available day. Anyway, so did we want to talk more about Kwanzaa, or do we want to move on to a different topic?
No, I think we should move on to a different topic. I think we covered the Kwanzaa and the highly questionable scumbag that started it.
Okay. So, Polly, I would like to propose a question to you that I asked to the Twitter verse earlier this fine evening. And it is regarding a name that I disagree with boyfriend over. Is the name Penelope, is that more reminiscent of a human female person to you, or is that more reminiscent of a horse? Like, what does that...
Is there a famous horse in like literature or movies named Penelope?
No, it's just...
Where'd you come up with that then?
You ever read the Odyssey?
Like Odysseus Odyssey?
Yeah, like that
Yeah.
Odyssey. Like classic Greek literature
Yeah.
from Homer.
Yeah.
Odysseus's wife is named Penelope. And
Right.
our boyfriendo and I have this tendency to like come up with cute little baby names. Not that I'm pregnant, okay? I'm not pregnant. But we come up with cute baby names and then we propose them to each other as like, here's one that I like in advance of when it is that we start having children. Because this is going to be a very long discussion, I can already tell. And two of the names that I've come up with, he's told me sound like a horse's name. The first one was the name Calliope, which is the head muse in Greek mythology, all right? The second one is Penelope, who is the wife of Odysseus. She waited 20 fucking years for her husband to come home from the Trojan War, by the way. But no, she's a horse. She's a horse. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Anyway, so
what was she gonna do? Ask the suitors to leave? That would have been against the mores of the time.
Yes, duh. But anyway, Polly, help me out here. Is it a horse or is it a female person? Human.
Female. I don't get horse out of it at all, but that's just
Thank you. Okay, and what about the name Calliope? Is that also horsey or is that also female-y?
It is reminiscent of a Clydesdale.
God, I really like that name so much.
Well, okay, you know what? Assassin of the Grace is Penelope Penny. So Calliope's Clappy. Like, what are people going to call her? I think nicknames is something to bring into consideration.
Okay. You know, this is just a fun game that boyfriend and I like to play. He also likes the name Sophia.
Sophia's very nice. It is.
It is.
But the unfortunate Sophie.
Sophie. Like, no, you're a Sophia. You're going to be a Sophie for the rest of your life. No, I don't love it as a name. And that's the only one that we can marginally agree on, because everything else that I've given him is, that sounds like a horse, or, oh no, my relatives already have that name. We can't name our first son Dimitri because my uncle's first child is named Dimitri. And I'm like, I love that name though.
I'm trying to think of what's a... Could go with Io.
Io. That's just
a name that's constructed entirely of vowels.
I'll see what it says.
I'm trying to think of. Well, the only reason I say Io is because I think the woman, the actress who played Io in the remake of Clash of the Titans, was hot as hell. Mm-hmm. So that's no reason for you to name your daughter anything.
Of course. Oh gosh.
She's hot as hell. Get off my back, man.
No, I understand.
Come on. Alabaster skin, dark hair, English accent. What's not to love about this woman? I mean,
she did not have an English accent in the actual, like, Greek mythology. I'll have you know.
I'm talking about the movie.
Okay.
I said the movie.
I know.
She also played Strawberry Fields in Quantum of Solace.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, excuse me.
Disgusting. Oh yeah. By the way, chat, I got that recorded the other night. Right, we're recording this stream, and Weebo's bleh, bleh, bleh,
I
bleh,
was
bleh. Okay.
not.
Okay. No,
No.
hold on. Hold on.
No, you lied.
She's being gassy as a fucking Texas oil well. And later on in the recording, towards the end, after we finished, I let out a burp, and she's like, "Once, what? First time?" And she goes, "Ew, oh." And I said, "What the fuck? You've been letting them rip all night." And she goes, "Yeah, but that was like wet, and like I'm letting little girly burps go." This is the hypocrisy I deal with. Okay.
No, but it was a moist burp, and it sounded ugh. At least my burps are distinguished.
Oh yes, distinguished and dainty, ever so refined.
No. I never said dainty. They're distinguished, but they are solid. All right, Dad. My father Jones taught me, little Weebo Jones, how to burp properly. Thank you kindly. Excuse me, my headphones almost came off of my face.
Hashtag girly burps. Yeah, there's no such thing. I mean, oh god, you know what came to mind when we were talking about, when I read hashtag girly burps? One of the big fat slobs that Irene Alex did some videos on. I don't even remember which one it was, but her whole shtick is that she's this big fat land dwelling butter whale that full of tattoos, and she just walks around at grocery stores taking money from people that give her donations to go buy food and then eat it. She's that shtick, whatever you want to call it, that genre of YouTube. A bunch of feeders, and her whole thing is she burps a lot. I don't think I've seen a more disgusting person on YouTube. This big, fat, gunt possessing, greasy, tatted thing, horrible whore's makeup, and going bleh, bleh. Oh fuck! It was something.
Is that what you think of me?
Yeah. I was trying to put a mirror to your face, Weebo.
Yeah. Rude. I feel so angry. But yeah, that's a conversation old boyfriendo and I are going to be having for quite a while before we actually start pretending actually having kids is the thing. Is what are we going to name our children? Because I feel like it's going to be one of those quests, like a 20-year quest. It's not going to end until we're both satisfied. So we're both very stubborn people. I don't know. It's gonna be difficult.
Yeah, burping girl. I remember Alex did a vid on her. That's the one I'm talking about. That's when I saw her for the first time. I was like, Jesus, fuck. I turned it off. I didn't want to watch it. I love Alex's content, but I couldn't do that one. No way.
I'm sorry. Does my burping put you on edge?
No, it's nothing like what that fucking slob of humanity was up to.
Slob of humanity. Me gusta. Me gusta. So, I don't know if I can show this without doxing myself. So I'll just read it to you.
All right.
So, it's on the Facebook page Medicare for All, posted like March 7th, 2019. So it's obviously very old. But it only just like came up on my Facebook page because someone reposted it, and it says, "You probably didn't know this, but hospitals in the United States actually charge new moms to hold their baby for a couple minutes after giving birth. A tiny moment of skin-to-skin contact between mother and child costs more than many people earn in 2 or 3 hours of work. The healthcare system in the US is greedy and inhumane." And in the picture box section of this post, there is an itemized list, like a statement of services and whatnot, the invoice of exactly what is being charged to the parents. And one of those things is skin to skin after C-section. And it's $39.35. The amount of one.
Why is there a charge for that?
Well, why do you think there might be a charge for that? First off, use your imagination. It is skin to skin contact after a C-section. That is the itemized list. Thing. Description of what it is. Why do you think
cleanup and or sanitization following?
No.
I got nothing then.
So the direct quote that I looked up to see like what this might entail is, quote, from an actual doula, by the way, who is a woman who does baby delivering professionally.
I thought that was a midwife.
Well, a doula, midwife, gynecologist, all the same thing, I guess. Apparently.
All right.
I don't know.
No,
I've never had a
okay.
child is the thing. I've only
All
been
right.
had. But the
I've only been had.
I've only been had. But the question, or the quote that was used to explain why this was the case was this: during a cesarean, most people become shaky, nauseous, uncomfortable, and even faint. These are normal physiological reactions because obviously you're getting cut into in your abdominal area, and so shit's about to go haywire. So, in order to facilitate that crucial skin to skin contact in the operating room, an extra nurse needs to be available to assist. Even if there's a husband present, in order to like facilitate the skin to skin contact, the nurses and the doctors and whatever, they don't know that the husband is going to not faint at the sight of blood, guts, gore, all of the stitches and whatnot.
Right.
So an extra nurse is needed in the OR to assist and to make sure that all of the safety precautions are made.
Okay.
And that person's time needs to be accounted for in the itemized list in the statement for their hospital treatment.
Got it.
Yeah. That makes sense, right?
Okay.
That makes total sense. But apparently healthcare should be entirely free. And you know what? This is ridiculous. And healthcare in America is broken and the system is a lie. And I'm like, there is a perfectly reasonable explanation for this, so long as you adhere to the fact that a person's labor and time should be paid for.
Well, the government can pay for it.
Yeah, but then that's also everyone else's job to pay for it too. And you're still paying for it in taxes, right?
No, if the government needs more money, they're the ones who print the money. You don't understand economics at all.
I do, though. Isn't that bad? Yes, thank you, Unholy Reaper. Time is money. And if a person is taking X amount of time out of their day to come in to make sure that you don't drop your fucking newborn child on the ground, then you know what? Give them that money. Give them that almost $40, bitch. Because healthcare is a human right. Okay, you know what? So is food, eating. Eating is a human right, but the labor that incurs as a result of you producing that food for someone else to eat is also something you need to pay for. You can't just expect the government to pay for your McDonald's. I'm a little bit salty about this.
Sounds like it.
But then someone goes up to me and they're like, good point, but what if they're fine and didn't utilize the OR and simply held their baby by themselves? Would they still be charged for $39? Yes, because it's a fucking precaution. It is a fucking precaution. You might not need it, but they put that in there in case you might need it. Because you don't know for sure if you're going to drop your baby or not, all right? You don't know for sure if your husband's not going to faint or not. All right. So a nurse is called in to ensure that you don't have to worry about the possibility of someone fainting or dropping your goddamn newborn fucking child that you just spent 9 months cooking up in your belly oven in order to actually pop it out of your stomach. Get over yourself, bitch. All right. If you don't want to have that nurse in, just shoo her out. They won't charge you. But you know what? If you drop that baby, it's on you. It's on you.
And remember, free healthcare means all of those services that Weebo was just describing for the 11 to 45 million illegals in the country currently. You're going to be covering them, which means it's going to mean a massive spike in taxes, which they can then blame on, I don't know, something else.
But yeah, this was ridiculous to me. And all in the comments, the things that I'm saying is, wow, they pay insurance every month. They still have to pay $1,600 out of pocket. Yeah, because it's not free to have someone spend hours cutting into your abdominals and extracting a baby and then sewing you back up. That takes effort. That takes the education to know how to fucking do that. And if you don't know how to fucking do that, then you are just botching the job. And it is deadly. Sorry, I'm just
Yeah, I
like,
wouldn't
so
want
like
somebody who has no idea what they're doing cutting into you with a butter knife.
their education in order to know exactly how to execute a cesarean section, in order for you to survive the birth of your child, costs probably more than you make in a single day. Definitely more than you make in a single day. But just the one class that they took, like, oh, sewing up cesarean section in like 101 in medical school. That class, that one single class period or whatever it is that it's called, probably cost more than it is that you're shilling out to give birth to your baby. Probably. I don't know, but probably.
We're coming up on the 90-minute mark here, a few minutes off. Why don't we spend the last few minutes just answering questions? Because it is Saturday night, and I do have a couple of things to go run out and do.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Yes, we can answer questions.
Cool.
I'm
should
almost,
there be any?
I'm like this much done. I'm almost done with my wine.
Well, look at that. There you go.
Yeah.
It's time to end the stream when the liquor's gone. Am I right?
Exactly.
That's why you need extra cans.
Exactly. And I still have to script for my video for this week, so this works out perfectly. I can script it while drunk and still be just as funny, if not actually more funny, while intoxicated. This is going to be great. Expect a golden video, guys. It's going to be some of my best work.
Really?
She said, knowing that every single video was her best work.
Yeah, I don't have a video that I'm particularly proud of. They're all just kind of there.
Well, I have one that I'm actually super proud of. It's the I think it was how to save the white race or something. Or the 14 point plan to save the white race. It was a total shitposty video, and this is kind of like the sequel to that, except not really. It's a spin-off, I guess you could say. The one that I'm working on right now. I have all of the ideas for it. I just have to script out the clever, witty retorts that it is that you guys love when I do. But, like, that was a good video. Because it was entirely a shitpost, one. But two, it was just so funny. And it was emblematic of everything it is. It just beautiful. My magnum opus. I think I described it on Twitter as beautiful. Are you mocking me, Polly?
Yes.
Oh, okay. As long as you're mocking me.
Oh man, I would never get started on something that I was trying to think of as my magnum opus because I'd never finish it. Next 6 minutes asks, what is your favorite comic book villain? That's easy. Dr. Doom.
Nerd.
What?
Nerd.
You know, she said with the Marvel hat on.
My Joker hat's all the way over there.
I mean, you have
Nightwing hat.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have a favorite superhero. Do you have a favorite supervillain?
I don't want to be cliche and say the Joker, because that would be super cliche. Does it have to be one that's actually comic book canon, or can I be, like, special about my decision? Do you think?
You mean one that only appeared, like, in an animated series or a movie or something?
Yeah.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. So, I really liked... Did you ever see Gotham by Gaslight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the animated version.
The animated version.
Yeah, sure.
The apex villain in Gotham by Gaslight. And I don't want to say who it is, because that would give it away, but...
Yeah, kind of spoilers.
Subtlety with which he is the villain makes it for me, and I love that. Not necessarily the motivation, but I do like that. Everything about that is perfect to me.
Gotham by Gaslight should have been an ongoing series, man. You can make an entire animated series just in that setting, and it would have been awesome as fuck.
Honestly. But the other one that I really like, it's not so much a villain, because it's when you think villain, you think malicious intent, right? But I always find the most intriguing villains to be the ones that are our own creations, or are not obvious in that sense. So if you ever watch Justice League, right? I think it was Unlimited or something like that. There's an episode of the Justice League where they are visiting Clark at his frozen ice layer thing. What is it called?
Fortress of Solitude.
His Fortress of Solitude. Thank you. I have trouble coming up with things and recalling them when I'm drunk. Okay.
But it's fine.
Fortress of Solitude for his birthday, and they're giving him a present, and he gets a present, and the present is essentially a plant that like injects itself into his body and gives him hallucinations of his greatest dream, which is that Krypton had never exploded and that he has a life there and that Lois is there and they have a child and whatever. And like, it's such a good plot with a villain that's not super like in your face villainy-ish, like ha 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 ha, evil monologue and all that jazz. Like, I have a vendetta against you. It's just something that it's a predator that does a natural thing to its victim in such a way that's torturous and it just makes you bawl your fucking eyes out, because the end of that episode, Superman has to make a decision between continuing to live on his delusion or waking up from the delusion itself. And the delusion is so, it pulls him in. It's everything that he's ever wanted in his life. It's all of his dreams come true, but it's killing him. And he has to make that decision between being happy for the rest of his life, which is until the thing kills him, or pulling himself out of that and making his own happiness a reality. And that is a really good villain because it's not in your face. But it hurts you so much more.
That'd be an interesting idea. It'd be like Scarecrow, but it's not nightmares he's giving you. It's torturously blissful visions he's giving you.
Yeah, and you just don't want to escape it. And Batman goes through the same thing, except with Clark, it's so much more because you actually get to see everything about it. It's fully fleshed out. And for a 20-minute episode of Justice League, they handle it very well. And you get every little angsty little bit piece. Oof.
Weebo?
Yes.
Would you get better tips if you worked on Saturdays?
No, not necessarily. Sunday's a good golf day too. I work at a golf club. I wasn't supposed to say that. That's too much information.
Assassin of the Gray. So just like that X-Files Killer Mushroom episode. Yeah, sort of. I mean, the Killer Mushroom episode was... I mean, it wasn't exactly blissful what they were doing. They were just going through the same cycle again and again while they were being slowly digested by that giant mushroom, right? That keeping their minds active, sort of like keeping them in a biological matrix while they were being digested, so they wouldn't wake up and get away. But I know what you mean. An episode where there's like a high level of bliss, and Fox Mulder wants to escape it because he knows it's not real, would be what was it called? Oh shit. It was co-written by David Duchovny, who wanted to like flex his doctoral studies in English, and the name of the episode is a quote from Nietzsche, "Love your fate."
Is it
more
Nietzsche or is it Nietzsche?
It's actually Nietzsche. Everyone has it wrong.
Oh.
Did they actually have their fantasies fulfilled in that episode? I just remember them going through the same investigatory cycle over and over again, where it was like Mulder kept saying to her, or excuse me, Scully kept saying to Mulder, it could have had the skull with the burned off by some kind of acid, or perhaps boiled off, and then they would realize they're dreaming, and then it would show before the commercial break that they were actually still stuck in the ground. Did they have their fantasies fulfilled?
I don't know.
Just we're talking about like X-Files and fantasies fulfilled. The episode that comes to mind is that Love Your Fate episode, that where Mulder is given his fantasy of moving into the perfect house, and his former partner is there, and the smoking man lives down the street, and all of the fights are over. It's no longer a problem. The fridge was full of sunflower seeds, one of his favorite munchies and so forth. And then Scully shows up to yell at him that this is all fake. Don't you realize it? And it was a really ham-fisted recreation of The Last Temptation of Christ. It was clear, plot for plot, point for point. Scully even repeats the line of the devil the line of of Judas at the end of the episode with the devil outside the door. Yeah. Anyway, we've gone X-Files deep.
Oh, I think the name is Superman versus Mongol. Okay, you know what? Say what you will about live action Justice League, DC comic book movies nowadays. But Justice League, the animated series, and Justice League Unlimited to a certain degree, were peak, pivotal. Some of the greatest content ever put out onto this planet for your sheer enjoyment of comic book renditions. Honestly, truly, I kid you not. It's masterpiece. Some of the concepts dealt with, there are a few key episodes that I can name you off the bat that are just like, oh my god, these are single 20-minute episodes of Justice League or Justice League Unlimited that are so much better than anything that you could put forth to me that was a cinematic like flop, like Aquaman or whatever, comparatively. Oh, like that other one about the cards, the Royal Flush Gang. That was another episode with Batman.
Right.
Fucking tearjerker, man. Tearjerker. Hurt me in my very soul.
Dave Fullman asked Polly, what real world skill would you like to learn? Examples: juggling, music instrument, or sculpture. Probably musical instrument.
Like what kind of musical instrument? A string?
I already told you and you mocked me. I won't repeat it again.
No, I forgot, and I'm drunk, so I won't remember this time, so tell me.
So you could ask all over again.
Exactly.
Oh.
I have a freebie this time.
I said the trumpet.
Why did I make fun of you for that?
You said brass is basic bitch. That's what everybody goes to.
Oh, no. You know what I think I said is, it's one of those soprano-y type band instruments, much like the flute or the violin. Everyone goes for those. Those are so typical.
I'm not going for the fucking tuba or the fucking oboe, okay?
No. But like, maybe a kazoo. No, that's
a kazoo. I play a hell of a triangle. You should see me get down with the maracas, in fact.
No, not the kazoo. What's it fucking called? It's not an oboe. It's the saxophone. That is an instrument I can respect.
Well, what's up, Jacob? Well, yeah, no, and Jacob says, yeah, playing instruments is fun. It makes me think I wish I had done band in middle school and grabbed the trumpet. I don't want to play marching band trumpet. I want to play a blues trumpet. The wah, 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 wah.
Oh, see, I can respect that. If it were marching band trumpet, that would be a whole different story. I can respect blues. But I still think that you should pick up the saxophone because it's one of the more sexier band instruments. Just gonna put that out there. And it has nothing to do with Kenny G.
Well, Weebo's fandom for Kenny G and her authorship of the Kenny G wiki aside, I think it's time that we close out this episode. As Weebo's out of liquor and I'm out of time.
Wow. All right. I see how it is. You just want to get rid of me because I'm making you uncomfortable with my recommendations for your band instruments, right? Mm-hmm. I see how it is. You don't want to talk to me anymore, do you, Polly?
Weebo gets reactionary and emotional when drunk. Just ignore it, everyone.
I'm losing my earbud.
Well, okay. Flipping your head doesn't help.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. All right. So, since Polly wants to leave you all so spectacularly, thank you, everyone, for donating, for liking, for commenting, subscribing, and for sharing this stream, and for all those who will do so in the future, and for all those who have done so in the past. We deeply appreciate your contributions to our success on the internet, and highly encourage that you continue to do so in the future as well, because you guys make this stream happen. And honestly, even if you weren't here, we'd probably still be doing the same thing. But y'all make it a lot more enjoyable, I will say, because then we have the ability to play off of y'all. Make sure you guys subscribe and follow Polydub on his Twitter and or his YouTube platform.
Oh, guess what? Speaking of which,
what?
Well, really quick, there's a link to my stream. There's a link to my channel. If you aren't already subscribed. And Daniel Fulman mentioned Noir Bar, and the Noir Bar band is do they have a name? No, they're a fly-by-night group of drunken malcontents, and they're lucky I let them in when they can remember to play, the bastards. But 1942 was a rough time. You got to know how to handle these jamokes. But the bar will be open tonight. We're doing a Noir Bar later on, so by all means, check it out. Weebo.
Yeah.
If you haven't turned into a pumpkin by that time, you're welcome to stop on by for more drinks.
I'll let you know about my pumpkin status later tonight.
Well, yeah. So yeah, but everyone is welcome to stop on by. We're going to be doing cursed images again. We've got a sloth of them to go through, which is going to be great fun, and a couple of crazy stories and general drunken frivolity. It's going to be hilarious. Okay. Best way to know is to either be subbed, and hopefully YouTube will actually send you the notification, or follow me on Twitter, because then I'm just at Polydub. Poly_dub. I forget.
That works. It's
Poly_dub. Because I always send out a tweet a few minutes before we go live anyway, so that way you can't miss it. Do
it. And Polly, do you have any shilly things that you would like to get out of the way as well?
How many videos did I put up in the last? I've been fucking productive.
3. You're making me feel bad. I feel like I have to pick up slack.
4, actually. Well, not really. One was just a clip of a previous cocktail hour rant that I went on, and then the Sean King episode that Sean King is a shilling grifter, because he totally is. You want to hear me explain what a shilling grifter that son of a bitch is? Well, videos up on my channel, links there in chat. But then I put up 2 live reads of continuing books that I'm having fun reading excerpts of, from Bret Easton Ellis's American Psycho. Chapter 42, Tries to Cook and Eat Girl. And then, it was it's pretty graphic.
Interesting.
And then I put up chapter 6 of the Screw Tape Letters just this morning, I believe. I'm happy that people even show up and listen to those, because I do those just for fun, because I am a big fan of C.S. Lewis and Bret Easton Ellis, who have nothing to do with each other, but for some reason I like them both, because I'm a complicated man. But there are more videos in the go, and then I'm currently editing another one, and like Weebo said, I got that one on deck that I have to edit, the one that we did together. Got to put that up too. So yeah, lots of fun things going on over there. And like I said, Noir Bar later on tonight, so stop on by. It's a good time.
You guys super hyped. All right. Regarding me, I will hopefully have a Weebo Hot Takes out the 1st of, is it July? Fuck, it is July. All right. Yeah, I got to get that show on the road. And then I will have a very, very special original Weebo content thing out. It's going to be a shit tier, shit talking, shit posty type video along the lines of my step-by-step how-to communism video and my 14-point plan to save the white race video, which were both giant shit posts in themselves. So I hope you guys can look forward to that in the future. I don't know when it's going to be out. I don't have a specific date, but it will be out someday in the next 2 weeks. I know that. In the meantime, thank you all for coming in and watching us. We deeply appreciate that, and we'll see you when we see you next. Until then, peace out, ladies and gents.
Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for the